What is up, everybody? We are back to round out the week here with another Dudes Who Bet Daily. No Somich today. He's got a sleeping child in his room. He's like, yeah, not getting on. I'm not going to wake her up. I said, don't worry about it. That sounds good to me. Don't do that. So, all right. What's up, Papa Dude? How you doing?
I'm doing great. We got a big day of playoff action.
Yep.
And if you want to start with OU softball, we can do that because that's a big day too.
I do. I am going to talk about softball. We'll end the show with that, though, because I do have a couple comments on the softball. But before we do, we got to recap the race yesterday, the Preakness Stakes. National Treasure gets the victory. Not too surprising, honestly. I thought he would run about like he did. And if Mage didn't fire, I thought he could beat Mage, and he did. Was very surprised Blazing Sevens ran as well as he did to get second. I was shocked about that, I'll be completely honest. And then, of course, Mage, a disappointing third. What were your thoughts on the Preakness?
Well, I just am bitterly disappointed, aren't you? I mean, it's total chaos now going into the Belmont, and not a lot of excitement it's going to be. At this point, I think we'd have to say it's a very poor 3-year-old crop.
Yep.
There just aren't any stars. Now, they could develop later on. That's the thing. And so, you know, a couple of things to look at here. Did Mage just not have it because it was 2 weeks and he didn't have enough time? You know, there's just a lot of things. He had every chance to win. I mean, the trip was fine. There's no excuse.
No.
You know, he just wasn't good enough. I didn't think he was good enough anyway, but I thought he could win this race. But I didn't think he was a Triple Crown type horse. But no. Pretty disappointing, really.
Yeah, it's pretty darn crazy that when he turned for home, I think all of us were saying, okay, now go get him. Yeah. And he ducked in hard to the left. And if you go back and watch that stream, when he ducked in hard to the left, we all went, oh.
Yeah.
Because when that happens, that means a horse is tired. That means the horse doesn't really want to do it. He's just dull.
Yeah.
You can't when that happened. Anybody that watched racing knew it was over when that happened.
Yeah. And you can't blame the jockey.
Well, no.
No, the horse just ducked in there. And what's he going to do?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And, you knew it was over. You knew something was up. Something was wrong. Yep. He didn't have it. And I mean, it's either he wasn't good enough to be able to do this, or the 2 weeks he couldn't handle it. He is very lightly raced. You know, he hasn't run a whole lot.
It's crazy too, because this thing with Blazing Sevens, to get with him for a second, I guess this is just the specialty of Chad Brown all of a sudden, because honestly, like, he won it with cloud computing and he won it with early voting, but doing the same kind of thing. But those are two horses that, like, they had looked really good at certain points of the year. Yeah. You kind of liked them. Like, you kind of thought they were kind of up and coming horses. This Blazing Sevens just hadn't done much, especially around 2 turns. And for him to run that well, I mean, you just got to give your hats off.
You really do. Yep. And, you know, when we heard the fractions, we knew, you know, it was too slow.
Yeah.
And you just kind of wonder, why did they let it's just the running style of these of the horses.
Who was going to go get him?
There just wasn't anybody that was going to go get the horse.
No, nobody was going to run with that horse early, and it's not like he's that fast. I mean, they were.
No, it wasn't like he was going that fast, right?
No, he was crawling.
Yes, you would have thought somebody would have. Those jockeys can sense the time; they know.
You definitely knew up the backstretch when Red Route 1 started to get into the race. You're like,
yes,
they're crawling,
Yes.
And basically, if you've bet on National Treasure when they hit the half-mile pole, you feel great about it.
Yeah.
If you bet on Mays, you're still not overly worried because he's in the race, but you knew it was going to be a fight down the stretch.
Yeah.
And,
I thought the same thing when I saw Red Route 1. What was he, like third or fourth?
He was
maybe even second. Yeah, and he was close.
Very close. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You knew, wow, this isn't right, because he's usually at that point, he's not even in the picture a lot of times.
Exactly. And Steve Asmussen's quote was, Joel sensed the time was slow and just decided, I got to just get him in the race. He has no shot if we're way behind. Yeah. So he got him into the race, and look, he got fourth, but you got to try to do something in that situation.
Yeah,
he was just never going to win a race like that with that kind of pace.
No, it was a strange one for sure. This whole thing has just been weird.
Yeah, to your comment about this is a pretty weak crop. So a horse that was eligible for a non-winners of a one lifetime allowance won the Derby, and the same thing with the Preakness. And so what that means is a horse that had won nothing other than a maiden won both the two legs of the Triple Crown so far. And that's pretty incredible. And not only that, the two horses that have won, they broke their maidens on debut and then lost a string of races and then
That's
won
right.
the Derby and now the Preakness. So
Yeah. You've got to go back a long way probably to find that.
it's one of the things it's like a check or an X, I should say, on horses usually coming into this race. It's like, well, they could run on the first race of the day for horses that have never won anything other than a maiden, and they could be in that race. And now they're in the Derby, and you think they're going to win, or the Preakness, and it just shows you.
And also, two of the best of the crop didn't run in either race.
Well, and that's
the problem.
Many of the best horses in the crop have not been in these races.
That's exactly right. Yeah,
it's a perfect storm of the crop has not been overwhelming, and the injuries have just piled up. And we get another one here, and who's to say First Mission doesn't win this race if he's in it after what we saw?
Yeah, it's a mess, and there's not much excitement going into the final leg.
Thankfully for the Belmont, they have that. It's like a Breeders' Cup day of racing where they have all those huge stakes. So if the Belmont is a little bit weaker some years, you still have those other good races around it. But you're right. If you didn't have those, the Belmont is,
well, I'm talking about the general public.
Well, no, for sure. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I would hate to be whichever network has the Belmont.
Well, like we were kind of talking a couple of days ago, it's like, if the Triple Crown's on the line, we're going on VEASAN talking about it. We're going on the local radio shows and talking about it. There's a lot of interest. Now, we're not going to get any calls for that. Nobody's going to have us on to talk about the Belmont.
Nobody's going to even know the race is being run.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's just the way it is.
That's the way it is. But at least we've got, for horse racing fans, it's a super day. And
it is.
But yeah, it's not good. Not good whatsoever for the general public. No mage for the Belmont. They said absolutely not. We're not even thinking about it. No word on National Treasure. However, Arabian Lion, who won the Sir Barton, it got a 103 buyer for the effort, where National Treasure got a 98. So was Bafford's best horse Arabian Lion? And this
could be.
I don't know, but Arabian Lion could be going to the Belmont after the race. They said yes, that is very possible for Arabian Lion. Well, haven't heard anything on National.
Yeah, the Belmont will have a better field.
It will. Yeah. I would. And again, I don't know. Obviously, a Tapit Trice, Arabian Lion. I think Two Phils would be interested in it. Maybe. I think Angel of Empire. So these horses that we're kind of used to seeing. But if we've learned anything over the last 2 weeks, just wait till race day. See who's actually going to run before you get to worrying about it. Because my goodness, we've had so many injuries and dropouts. It's been crazy. So,
did you mention Practical Move?
Practical Move is still, I don't know what's happening with him. He got a fever and we haven't heard a word about him.
Haven't heard a word about it, have we?
No. So I don't really know what's going on with him. A horse Jared and I were talking about privately last night, Go Rocket Ride. He got sick, scratched for standing in a Derby.
Haven't heard a word.
He would have made a lot of sense in races like this. And it's just,
and Forte's definitely out, right?
Yeah. Yep. They said weeks ago he's not going in the Belmont, I guess 2 weeks ago they said Belmont wouldn't be a possibility. So I guess unless they change their minds on that he's out. It's just and everybo's like, it's going to be a great summer, and it's like, well, if they actually run, it's going to be a great summer. But you just can't guess who's gonna be in these races. So
Dr. Tang and I were talking last night. We're back buddies again, by the way. And we were talking about, everybody says, well, it's the way they train horses today, why you can't win the Triple Crown. You never have been able to win the Triple Crown very much. It doesn't matter how you train horses. It is damn hard to win the Triple Crown. It is just hard. Even when they trained them differently, in the old days, it was tough to win it. It's hard.
It doesn't hardly ever happen.
No.
That's what I kept telling people, it's like even though the Mage had a little bit of an easier race yesterday than most of that have had to go through this,
Yeah,
it's still tough to go win those races, and
it
so
is.
that's why
It
you don't
is.
see it
And
very often. Yeah.
even like back when they used to run them every 2 weeks, every
Oh
3
yeah.
weeks, you still don't have very many Triple Crowns, and that's why
Nope.
they probably ought to leave it alone because it's unique and it's very difficult to do. We're a little spoiled because we had two recently very close together. What was it? 2 years difference?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
3. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so last thing about the Preakness, and you said that we probably should leave it alone. It's going to be interesting because the Preakness, the betting on all total pools on the betting on the Preakness altogether was down $11 million.
Oh, is that right?
So when you see that number, and I'm
One,
with you, they need to just leave it alone. But listen, it's down $11 million. I'm sure Pimlico, the Stronach Group, whatever, not happy about that.
that is really interesting
Yeah, yeah. So all
because,
right, go ahead.
do you think it was because they're just everybody thought Mage was going to win, but his odds were okay.
Well, yeah, I think it was just the lack of horses. Smaller
Yeah.
fields get less bet on it, honestly.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. And when
Yeah.
you look at it, it's like, what am I betting if I know, if I'm not betting Mage or National Treasure? There wasn't that group of
Absolutely.
horses to spread out the money.
Yeah.
And look, I think, like I said, the interest in the sport kind of waning at the moment. So
Yeah.
it's still high, but I don't think it's as high as it
Well,
was.
right now it's really tough because we don't have an older star either.
We have a lack of star power for sure.
Yeah, we're really hurting at all levels right now.
Yeah.
We really are.
Like, so
Now that one, I can't remember its name. It was a sprint, something chaser or chase it. Or,
straight no chaser, huh?
that was a pretty impressive run right there. I'll tell you for sure. So we may have a star sprinter, but sprinters aren't. They don't look at them as stars too often.
Yeah. I tell you what, you want to do, since we're talking horse racing, let's just skip to the race of the day. Then we'll do the sports because it kind of doesn't make sense to do sports and then go back to the race of the day.
Yeah.
We're going off script a little bit here. Let's go to the race of the day. Let's move on, turn the page from the Preakness, and then let's go to Churchill Downs race 8 on the card today. It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a really good one. Somich was excited about this one. We've got an allowance going 6.5 furlongs here. And like I said, National Treasure and Mage, before they won the Derby and the Preakness, they would have been eligible for this race. And that's kind of what I'm making the point of how weird this year has been. So race 8, field of 9, but 6 has scratch favorite Outlaw. All right, Papa Dude, where are you going?
Well, I really think this is one that's worth watching. I mean, this is a good one. Like you said, I tried to pick between 3 of them. I want to bet the 7 Saudi Crown 8-5. What do you think? You think he'll stay there?
I don't know. Not after that impressive performance. I'm not sure.
He was very impressive. Yeah. But sometimes
he's facing some established
ish
horses. So maybe.
Yeah. The 5 Blue Light.
Yes.
At 10-1. Right. Look at that horse because finished second in an allowance his second time out. So he's got a little bit of more experience than Saudi Crown. And second in an allowance is okay. And then I kind of like the 8 Sweet Cherry Pie also. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to go with Saudi Crown because it's so impressive in that opener. And, this is the natural progression to go on and get this one. So I'm going to go with him. I like the Blue Light in second and give me Sweet Cherry Pie in third. So I'll go 7, 5, 8.
It's pretty interesting, this race, because it is for 3-year-olds and older. And the older horses that have entered here, boy, they leave a little bit to be desired. Sometimes you get in races like this, you try to lean towards those older horses, but they're not great in here. And the 3 you just mentioned are the 3 I like as well. And they're all 3-year-olds. So yeah, I'll talk about him a little bit as well. Saudi Crown, I don't think this horse needs much of an introduction. Go watch that maiden special weight debut victory on April 16th at Keeneland. He was fantastic. And so he's going to get a lot of attention. I want to touch on Blue Light because that's who I like second as well. The number 5 horse that you mentioned. Nice maiden debut at Fairgrounds. Went to Keeneland. I was there that day at Keeneland. This was a Bluegrass Stakes Day. If you see this as like, that's a familiar race to me. That's probably where you remember it from. Squire Creek was the winner of that race. A horse I loved that day. Blue Light ran well, ran second behind Squire Creek. Squire Creek came back, ran okay in a stakes race up at Belmont, got second. Wasn't anything special, but wasn't awful either. Just ran away from by Drew's Gold. I really think Blue Light will come back and run well here. I think 10-1 is a nice price. I think you got to take a look at him. And then, of course, the 8 Sweet Cherry Pie, certainly another one to look at, who had a nice win last time out. One more comment here. Rob N likes the 1. So the 1 is one of those older horses, right? Mm-hmm. And does have that experience edge that I kind of alluded to before we started talking. So that is the 1. If you're going to play an older one, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The form's kind of muddied, but did run very well last time out at Keeneland. Only got beat a nose. I wouldn't hate taking.
No, looks like it might be coming on, but it hasn't ran awful in those races, but not great either. Mm-hmm. So it's the experience level going up against relatively ones that don't have that. So that is an angle to play for sure.
Mm-hmm. Saudi Crown did go off. He went off at 5-1, but the point's still the same here. It's like if Brad Cox or the people around Brad, or if the hype was there, probably wouldn't have went off at 5-1 on that debut. So it may have surprised him a little bit. Valid concern for sure, and I think that's why I didn't single. I played a couple with here. Mm-hmm. The favorite was actually a debuter for Asmussen on that day. Was 3-1 Magic Tap. So really 3-1 favorite. So that the word wasn't out on any of those horses. So. Right. We'll see what happens, but that's not a terrible way to look at it either if you want to try to beat them. So, all right. Anything else before we move on to the sports?
Nope, but it'll be real interesting to see how this horse does today.
Yep. Like I said, that is going to be race 8 on the card, 4:22 Eastern, 3:22 Central Time. If you want to check that one, I probably don't need to tell that to people watching this show. They probably know when that is. They probably got it circled. All right. Let's go to the sports now real quick. We'll wrap it up with a little bit of sports talk and the best bet. Celtics Heat. All right, here we go. Heat getting points again, even though they're up 2-0, even though they're at home. I just went, hey, this is real logical. I'm taking the Heat. What about you?
Well, it is logical, and they should be favored, in my opinion. They've won 2 games on the road. Why are they not favored? But here's my thinking. I was going to take them. I said, well, this is a no-brainer. You've taken them before on the road, but they had more points to play with. I've been thinking a lot about, they have been playing with absolutely no pressure on them, No one expects them to win. How many times do you see teams that are really pretty good, and they are good? I don't know why they had such a poor regular season. These guys can play.
Yeah, and they've got talent.
They've got talent, and something clicked late. I don't know. They just got on a roll, and that's hard to explain. But when you're underdog all the time, you go in these series, and you're pretty damn good anyway, and Jimmy Butler is just playing out of his mind. My God, he's the best player in the playoffs. He's just unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And Adebayo and some of those other guys are just playing great. You just get on this roll, and you're not supposed to win, and you just go. I'm very leery of them today. To me, this is a pressure game for them. Now, they can use as motivation their underdogs, and I'm sure they will. This is a pressure game. They get this one. They got this series. I don't see any way Boston's going to beat them 4 in a row. If they lose this one, now the pressure is going to get even stronger. If Boston is going to win a game, it's today, in my opinion. So that's why I stayed away from them. This is one, if you've watched them, man, they are making shots. Mm-hmm. God, they're making shots. One time, every once in a while, you don't make those shots. And this could be the game. So this one scares me a little bit. I'm with you. I took Miami. I think they're going to win. It's logical to bet them. I just was a little bit leery of them today.
I took Miami as well, but I'm with you. I think everybody, and that's why the Celtics are favored. They're like, they got to win one of these eventually, right? And look, the Celtics, I'm not going to say should have, but easily could have won. Either one of those first games, they just blew it. I mean,
I think the Celtics are soft.
Yeah.
I think they're soft, and Miami is a poor matchup for a team that's soft
Yep. Agree.
because they're not.
They're the opposite. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, we're both going Heat, but we're both a little bit leery. We'll see what
Yeah,
happens
a little
tonight
afraid.
in this one. It's going to be interesting to see. All right, hockey tonight, game 2 in Vegas. The Stars and the Golden Knights. Golden Knights minus 120. Total sitting here at 5.5. We've got a couple best bets coming from this game. Let's save that though. Let's talk about who we think is going to win. Then we'll talk about the best bets.
Well, this is tough, and I couldn't go with either team as a best bet because I don't know. I just couldn't decide.
Well, you know me, I have such a strong opinion on Florida every time they play. It's like, yeah, take Florida. This game or this series over in the West.
Yeah, I don't know.
No idea.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So for a while I was going to take Vegas because they're at home, and I thought, okay, but I thought minus 120, and I'm not sure why do I want to do that. And I thought, okay, well, I'll take the Stars. Well, they're just plus 100. I mean, they're just. I don't feel that good about them either,
Yeah.
But if you are a pure hockey fan like we are, these playoffs, by and large, have been the best I can recall.
Yeah.
The Carolina Florida series is awesome.
Yep.
It is just awesome. Now, if you're not a pure hockey fan and you like a lot of goals, it might be boring to you. But for us that follow it religiously, man. And I thought it was so great. Kachuk is unbelievable.
He's awesome.
He scored that goal last night, and what did they do? The same thing they did the other night. Right to the locker room.
He points right to the locker room, so let's get out of here. Yep.
Plus, he was right there by the gate that went into the locker room. Was that not awesome?
Yeah.
It was just awesome. He just scored a goal, skated around for just a second, and pointed right to that door, and every one of them went right through that door. That was fantastic. And I'm sitting there thinking, here's a kid that, raised in St. Louis, and God, wouldn't it have been nice to have him?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh boy, what a player he's going to be. But back to this one, I don't know who's going to win. I don't know. I just don't know that. And game 1 of this series, fantastic. It was a great game. So I would lean towards Vegas just simply because they're at home, and that's the only reason. I think these teams are really evenly matched.
I'm taking the Stars, but I'm leaning that way just because of the price. But you're right. The problem is, like with Florida, has been plus 130, plus 130 these 2 games. Perfect. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Dallas it's like plus 100. It's still a plus money game. So that's, for sports, you take it, but I'd like a little bit more. I'd like a little bit better price. So I'm staying away.
You mentioned Florida. And the way we talked about the Heat, I think that game 3 is the same thing for Florida.
Yeah.
That is going to be a toughie for them because Carolina and Florida are close. I mean, they're just almost even. I mean, obviously, both games that went into overtime. So that's going to be a tough one because if Carolina can win that, they're back in it because those 2 teams are so nip and tuck. I don't think where they play makes any difference to you.
No, I don't think where they play makes any difference for anybody, honestly, in the NHL.
The series here the same way. It doesn't
home
matter.
Advantage, it doesn't really matter.
No.
Just checking tomorrow, Monday, obviously, Florida is a favorite right now.
Is that right?
And that means I'm going Carolina. I bet Florida every game, but I'm probably going Carolina tomorrow.
Yeah, because that series is nip and tuck. It's even. Either team could be up 2-0. Or
all 3 games of these finals so far have went into overtime. We'll see if another one goes into overtime today. I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I wouldn't either. There's no reason to think otherwise.
All right, best bets from this game. Somich is going. This is going to be interesting. You guys are both these bets that you guys are going to have can hit, but they're kind of opposite thinking. So Somich is going to go with the Stars Vegas under a goal and a half first period. You've seen these first period bets from him all year long. He loves them. He cashed with the Panthers and Carolina last night doing the same thing. So he's going back today. Stars Vegas under a goal and a half in the first period. That's Somich's best bet. However, you are going to go over the total of 5.5 in this game for the whole game. So again, these 2 can hit, but tell us why you like the over.
Well, I can see it being 1-0 after 1. I can see that, or 0-0. I had, as you know, I couldn't find much today. I wanted to bet this game one way or the other. I just couldn't do it. I was leery of the Heat. Today, I couldn't do it. I'm doing awful in baseball. I mean, I could have done a parlay that might have come in, but it wouldn't have paid much, and it was too risky, and I didn't want to do it. So I took the over. It went over the other night. I think Vegas is a little bit sketchy at goal. I could see Dallas scoring 4 or 5 tonight. So that's why I took it. I thought about the under for a long time, and I won't be surprised if it is under. I could see 3-2, 3-1, something like that. But I got a feeling tonight it could go over. So that's what I did. I went over the 5.5. I'm not real confident in it, though. I had to find something to bet, and I just didn't. I went. This was the best one I could come out. I gave you that prop bet I had, and I don't like to do player bets. I hate them. I lost last night on one. That ain't me. I don't. There's too much shit that can go wrong when you do those player bets.
Yeah, there's shit that could go wrong with anything, but I've gotten to where I don't like the props at all. Yeah, so I'm with you on that one. Yeah, listen, this one, I think it's 50-50 for sure. The one thing I'll say, Ottinger for Dallas, like the overall scheme of things, he's like, he's the best goalie left. But he has been wildly inconsistent.
He has
in this postseason. The goalie's playing the best is Bobrovsky from Florida.
God, he's unbelievable.
Out of his mind right now. How long it lasts, I'm not really sure. But Ottinger, he could stink it up again tonight. And the Vegas goalie situation is always a little dicey. So I like it. I think it will go over. It's not mine, but I do think it's a logical bet from you. So good job.
Best I could do.
All right, I'll go to mine real quick. I'm going to go to the Guardians plus 125. Been good with the plus money this week in baseball and the NHL. Guardians and Mets game 1. They're going to play 2 today, doubleheader because they got rained out yesterday. And if you watch Belmont, you know why they got rained out. The game was in New York and it poured. Today we're playing 2. This is the first of 2. Guardians plus 125. Like the pitching matchup pretty well here for the Guardians. They're playing decent. They had a really rough start, but they're playing decent now. I think it's pretty evenly matched, these two teams. I think the Guardians lineup is just a little bit better, honestly. And so I'm going to go Guardians plus 125. I think it's a 50-50 game. So give me the team with the plus money. Give me the Guardians here. Game 1, it's going to start here in about an hour. So game 1, Guardians, Mets. Give me the Guardians plus 125. All right. I said I was going to allow you to talk about softball. So before you do, here's my thing.
Okay.
We got to get betting on this sport going. We have to that's last week. Tennessee played, I don't even remember, I think South Carolina in the SEC championship game. Believe it or not, I've got a source. I've got a really good softball source that follows it day in and day out. And I said, what do you think she was going to go? She went to the game, Tennessee, South Carolina, SEC championship game.
It was in Fayetteville.
In Fayetteville, Arkansas. Yeah, because the SEC term was in Fayetteville. She goes, I said, what do you think? Because I was going to watch it, because there's nothing else on. I said, what do you think? Tennessee, South Carolina. She goes, oh, Tennessee, easy. So I'm like, okay, Tennessee minus a run and a half. Perfect. I'm going to go bet this. Nowhere. You can't find it anywhere. And of course, they win by 2 runs. And so I would have cashed. So I was really mad. But anyway, we got to get betting on the sport. It's starting to grow in popularity. It's on television. Why can't we bet it, Papa Dude?
I don't know. I guess it's women's sports. That's the only thing I can think of, because really nobody bets women's college basketball very much either. But you can bet it. There are lines on it, aren't there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. This is a sport that I have to admit, I probably wouldn't be watching it if OU wasn't so good.
Mm-hmm.
But I have gotten really into it. I can't believe how good these girls are. They are unbelievable. And I'm talking about a lot of teams, not just Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
They are phenomenal athletes, and the skills that these girls have. If you haven't watched one, you need to, if you're a sports fan. Now, if you go in person and the game's not on TV, it is extremely fast. That's what I like about it. I cannot sit through a baseball game. It is so boring. I can't do it. Now I might a major league game because you're at the ballpark and there's stuff going on, and those games they speed those up a little bit. But a college baseball game, our alma mater plays in the championship game today in Joplin. You probably didn't even know.
No.
but I wouldn't even consider going. I don't think. And
Too
well, I would if I lived over there. It's because it's a pretty day,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't drive very far.
What time they
But
play?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think 1 o'clock, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But what I was getting at, they're very fast. Softball games are very fast, unless it's on TV, and then there's commercials, and it tends to drag out a little bit longer. But I'm with you. It'd be nice to bet it now. It'll be interesting to see if you can bet it when we get into the College World Series. I would think there would be some interest in betting it when they get into the World Series part for the girls softball, which is in a couple of weeks. So anyway, it's on ESPN a lot right now, a lot of regional games. If you don't have anything to do this afternoon and you want to just watch it for a minute, you just can't believe how good these girls are. They're unbelievably good.
Yep, it's very good. You can tune in now on ESPN2. They've got a game going on if you want to take a look at it today. And I think all throughout the day, they'll have games on ESPN2 or ESPNU, something like that. So, yep, you can check it out. Today's the day we need betting on softball for sure.
Yep.
So, all right, best bets. Let's get to them, read them off, and let's get out of here. Let me get that stupid banner off there. There we go. All right. Somich is going at Stars Vegas under 1.5 for the first period. Papa Dude's going at Stars Vegas over 5.5 for the game. I'm going to go the Cleveland Guardians plus 125 to beat the Mets. That's game one of the doubleheader. All right, 8-8, up $90 for the week. Still down $430, but we've made progress the last couple of weeks. Hopefully we keep it going. All right, guys, have a great rest of your Sunday. We'll see you right back here for this show on Wednesday. So, yeah, get a little bit of break. We'll see you right back here on Wednesday. Have a good rest of the weekend, guys.